Welcome back to the Everyone Everywhere podcast. I'm Pastor Trey along with Tim today, and our guest this morning or this afternoon or whatever it is Pastor Corey. This is your first time on, I believe.
It is my first time.
Yeah, so we're going to spend some time today talking specifically about 323 Sports. It's a new ministry that our church launched off the ground about a month ago. Corey is here to kind of lead out on that. Also just launched basketball off the ground.
Yep.
And are getting ready to launch basketball off the ground, taking registrations now. So listeners, sign your kids up for 323 basketball.
Yes.
But before we dive into that, I want to just kind of cast a little bit of vision for what 323 Sports is. And then I want you just to kind of jump in and share your heart around how you want to execute that and implement that and see the ball move forward. Really, we were just talking, before this conversation, we were talking about the travel ball scene. And one of the things that we discovered last year is no matter what sport it is, if it's club volleyball, if it's basketball, AAU level, if it's travel baseball, the challenges are the same. We're seeing more and more kids getting involved in this, more and more dads living vicariously through their children. And what we started to notice is that even believers were starting to complain about the environment and not really finding solutions to how to advance the gospel within the environment or how this could be a good thing. So all of that to say that you got basically Upward basketball. Nothing wrong with Upward. It's great. A lot of kids play it. It's done a phenomenal. It's been a phenomenal ministry. But the competitive nature of Upward is really just for any kid that wants to play. Mm-hmm. And then you got travel and club sports. That's really like for your ultra competitive kids. So we're trying to find where's that middle space, where's that middle ground for kids to get involved. They want to be competitive, they want to be developed, they want to have fun, but maybe Upward's a little, not competitive enough. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're not ready for travel or club. And so we created what's called 323 Sports, and 323 comes from Colossians 3:23. We have a camp here that's been going by that name. And it's based on doing everything you do for the glory of God. And Clayton Kershaw just retired, and he used that verse in his retirement speech, which is awesome. And so we just felt like, man, how do we teach these kids to use the sport to honor and glorify God, how to use it as a platform to advance the gospel? So we go by 3 C's. We want to help them grow in their character. We want to put them in places where they can compete. Mm-hmm. And then we want to teach them how to leverage the game for the Great Commission. So the commission teaching them, man, that you can be the church on the ball field and advance the gospel in that space and place. So now we started baseball. We've got a travel team that's already formed. They're starting this spring, and your grandson is on that team. So he's in the inaugural team in baseball, and now we have basketball, which leads me to you.
Yes. I think finding that middle space and finding that middle ground becomes extremely as important, especially as you have young athletes that want to grow, that want to be more effective in that space, but sometimes need more time to grow. Or maybe even parents aren't prepared yet to be a part of the travel ball scene and all that comes with that. 323 is truly about development and growth. I mean, we want to see kids holistically grow while they're growing in the sport, and they're growing as young men and young women. They're also growing in their faith, growing to better understand who God has created them to be. Very few of them are going to go on to maybe do that professionally, but it will be an opportunity for them to build relationships, engage with other people, and learn what it means to be able to share their faith and share their hope with others. But it's not just a platform for the athlete. I believe it's a platform for members of our church, people in the community, to also have opportunity to share their faith. I believe 323 is community sports. So that means it is inviting others from the community to be a part of what we're doing, but it also allows believers that may have their children that are part of this to meet, to engage, to talk to other people. It's a platform by which that we get to reach everyone everywhere.
That's right.
Right? Because we're hoping that everyone everywhere is coming to participate and to be a part. And so it's twofold. It's a way for kids in our community to have an opportunity to engage with one another, but also engage in a safe environment and a space where they're valued, and then they get to learn about how God values them as well. So I think it's an important thing to do. It's not just another activity or another program or something else for us to be a part of, but for those within our community to say, hey, how do I engage with people outside of my community? Where do I get to go do that? A 323 baseball game, basketball game, a flag football game are spaces by which you get to do that.
That's right.
You get to meet another mom or another dad.
Or grandparent.
Or a grandparent that is bringing their children to be a part of this. That's where opportunities happen. That's where you can have a chance to surprise the world with how you may love on them, and they're going, hey, hold on, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Hey, well, let me share with you, why I'm doing this. Yeah. It's an opportunity to invest in and have an opportunity to share truth with some young people that may never show up to a Sunday service, may never show up to your Sunday school class, may never show up to your life group or your missional community or whatever you may have going, but they will be there for that game. That mom will show up. You got parents that'll show up to a game that unfortunately won't show up to a PTA meeting, but they'll show up to a basketball, baseball, football game. It's an opportunity now for you to leverage your faith, leverage the gifts that God is planting inside of you, and make an impact.
Yep. One of the ways we've already started to see this through baseball, what we did last fall is we kind of did a greenhouse experiment just to see what this is going to look like in the arena of baseball, and we're launching it, first travel team this spring. But we have a kid that's on our team, never stepped foot in the church, but through the community that he built with this team, they invited him to Camp 323 over the summer. He goes to Camp 323, gets his very first Bible, starts reading that Bible with his mom. His mom's a single mom. So his mom and his sister are the primary caretakers of him. And it's not uncommon for him to get to and from a game through Uber. That's the dynamics of that family. She's doing everything she can to love him, put him in environments where they are safe. And little did she know, but she was also exposing him to the gospel. Yes. And he comes to camp, and then we're told by the mom, hey, he's reading the Bible almost every single night to our family. Not only that, but his language has changed. So some of his behaviors and the way he communicates has been altered just by the people he's been around. And it's a pretty cool story to see. Sometimes what I've learned in athletics, and you've seen this too, Corey, is sometimes you need the team a little bit more than the team needs you.
Yes.
And there are definitely kids like that. And this creates some space for us to say, hey, we could go find the best athletes and field a team and go after, wins and losses or, wins. Or we could say, man, we'll take you and we're going to try to develop you and work with you and love on you. And I tell our kids all the time, Tim, you hear me say it, but we're going to coach them hard. Yeah. But we're going to love them harder. And man, when those kids know that they're loved, man, they'll go through a brick wall for you. So
I just, not to toot your horn, but I watched you coach my grandson this past year, and it's serious baseball. I mean, he's teaching him. He learned probably more about hitting this year than he has all in his life up to that point. But I loved listening to you talk to him after the game, win or loss, just getting the priorities in order. And youth sports is a community. It's really what it is. And there aren't too many people that have had more of an influence on me than my coaches. Some of them really negatively, so that's a part of this too. So, I mean, both of you talk a little bit about like who's going to be coaching up here. Like, what's this going to look like? Basketball, for instance.
I just want to, piggyback on that comment. There are some places where coaches carry more weight than pastors, teachers, even parents. I mean, if parents having an issue with their child, they go find the coach. Hey, he's not doing what he needs to.
Run him.
Yes, run, whatever that case may be. So that impact can be great if you got the right people leading in that space. And that can be in any situation. But yes, a big part of that is having godly men coach and women, godly men and women coach these young athletes, right? Because again, a lot of times our society talks so much about what your gifts are and not enough about what your character is like.
Mm-hmm.
And so you spend a lot of time harping on recruiting kids because they can play.
Yeah.
Or they're gifted,
Sure.
and not enough time spending on how we're shaping their character and what we're hoping they become later on. Coach K got a lot of flack maybe at times because of the way he recruited kids. And a lot of times he recruited kids from 2-parent homes. And obviously that X'd out, some very talented kids that came from single-parent homes, right? But there was a standard he had in that space. Whether I agree with that standard or not, it had a lot to do with his opportunity to speak into character of those kids. And so here at Eagles Landing, a part of recruiting coaches is their own personal character and then what we believe they can pour into young people. Now, we want them to know the game. We want them to know basketball. We want them to know football, whatever that sport that they may be coaching. However, what we believe is most important is what they can put inside of them as it becomes to the young men and young women they become later on in life. And so that's important.
It's interesting to me. I mean, my youngest son played upward, loved the idea, but he was a really aggressive, he's a really good basketball player, and he would steal the ball and they'd blow the whistle and make him give it back. Yeah. But that creates, like in 323, in any sports environment, you've got competitiveness where passions, it's a physical game, but you have an expectation for the way you handle that on the court. So this is not going to be a league where you damp down the competitiveness at all, but you get to demonstrate and communicate the gospel in environments where you're tested.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So talk about that a little bit, like what you want to see in terms of the competitive environment versus the spiritual emphasis.
Right. I mean, what's important for us is kids learn how to play the game and play the game correctly. Me putting you in a position where you have to dumb down, or any kid has to come and dumb down their ability to play this game is not really helping them develop and helping them grow.
Right.
We all need some resistance and adversity. The point of lifting weights is the resistance of the weight, right? And so we want to see kids develop in this space, but we also want to, we want to see you develop with good character, right? We want you to be competitive, steal balls, play defense, because that's the part of the game in which you want to grow. But in that process, we want to talk to you about how I treat the guy on the other side, that even in my competitiveness, I can also love on you and care for you in the process.
Practice self-control.
Yes, practice self-control. Even to the degree that I believe I'm doing more of a service to you to compete against you than I do not to compete against you, because I'm not helping you get better. The word talks about iron sharpening iron, that there needs to be some friction in that space for growth to happen. And so we welcome the friction, but we also want to talk about how we operate in self-control, how we love, how we care for one another. I know it's weird, maybe as we talk about competition, that we're throwing out the word love, you know what I'm saying? But I believe that can happen in that process. And we want to teach young people how to compete and how to compete well, as well as teaching kids how to win and how to lose well, because that's important too, right? You can win badly. You know what I'm saying? And
we just saw that.
Yes. Yeah. And you can lose well. I mean, you can lose in a good sense, right? I think all of us have had, situations, and I'm sure times where we didn't lose, well, and in times where we didn't win well. How can we teach our young people those sort of things in this competitive environment and how they can grow from that? Some of the best lessons I ever learned came from sports.
Yeah.
And we want the same for them.
Yeah, we share that too. Often the gospel is most visible when we love people through our losses. That's an interesting fact. I'm going to blow your mind here for a second. When I was at Southeastern Seminary, you asked a question that kind of reminded me. When I was at Southeastern Seminary, we formed a basketball team. And believe it or not, I played on that basketball team.
Come on.
We traveled over to Istanbul, Turkey, and that was our mission. We went over there to play club sports. And if I was a guard, I was playing across from, another player. And after the game was over, we would all go to dinner, their team and our team. And it's Islamic over there. So 99.9% Muslim. And they love to talk about faith. They don't have the right thing. So we engage these conversations over dinner, over at a table. And it's really neat to see that dialogue take place. I learned over there, by the way, that it shaped me, and I'll never forget it. But the guy asked me, he said, "So what do you guys think of Islam?" And the tension was in my heart. Like, am I going to be honest here?
Yeah. Or
am I going to try to say something I know that he wants to hear? And to be very honest with you, I didn't know what they might want to hear. So I had to be honest. And I said, man, honestly, when I think of, Muslims or the Islamic faith, I think of terrorism. And I do. And even through seminary classes, that's what the world has taught me. And I said, so what about you? What do you think of us? And he said, well, we think of Christians like Britney Spears. And I hate to drop those names on the podcast, but it showed me.
That's a new one.
Yeah, it showed me. I was
brand
like,
new.
whoa. Yeah, but that's what they thought. Yeah. So
it's an American thing.
Why would you want that? And I mean, I'm not trying to knock anybody. Hope that's understood. But just to be able to use sport to engage in mission was awesome, and how much God taught us through that. One other thing I'll share with you, because, again, your question kind of resonated. There's really 4 arms to this, and Corey might not even know all of this, but the 4 arms of 323 Sports is you have an international arm. So those who are listening that are dads, hopefully in the future, we'll provide opportunities for you and your kid to go on mission trips using the avenue of sports to advance the gospel. We're working with the DR right now trying to develop that. The second arm of this is the rec side of ministry. And that's kind of what we're talking about in this conversation. We're getting that started here. But those players who excel and want to play at the next level, there's also a third arm, which is the club travel arm of it as well. And then the fourth arm is a content creation arm. What we have learned is that coaches, even believing coaches, are ill-equipped to use their platform to share Jesus and to develop character. And we got to equip them to be able to do that. Nobody has stepped into that space to make that happen. But then second, what we just talked about before this podcast is you got dads that are determined, if my child does this now, he will make it later. And what we're seeing is the reverse effect of the travel ball scene in some cases.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. I'm not saying that if a kid wants to play, you don't let him play. I'm not saying that, manage his life in a certain way. What I'm saying is sometimes a kid just wants to be a kid, and we as dads don't always let them do that.
Yeah.
And but what I love about what Corey's talking about with 323 is, man, there's gonna be kids that come through here that have never heard of Jesus, and it's gonna drop our jaw because they're right here in Henry County.
Yes.
There's gonna be kids that come through here, man. They're gonna say things that we don't want our kids hearing. It's just gonna come out. But at the end of the day, that's what we're after. We're after that kid's heart, and we want those kids here so that we can introduce Jesus to them. What would you say excites you most about the basketball season?
Man, I think what excites me most is seeing kids who love to play and having fun.
Yeah.
Right. The ones that just purely enjoy the gathering the other kids, getting to play, run up and down the court. I mean, it's nothing like seeing that kid showing up here on a Saturday, so excited to be here. They may have wore their uniform to sleep the night before. You know what I'm saying? They're so excited to come and be here. I used to tell parents all the time, they may say, hey, well, my kid's never played, or he doesn't have this type of skill. And I was like, the only thing we desire is a kid that want to be here, right? That desires to come. Like, they want to show up. And if you got kids that want to be here, that's a huge deal. Because we don't want, we know parents, push their kids into doing certain things. And I'm not saying that there isn't some necessity for that, especially if your kid just wants to sit at home and sit on a video game, or you just want to sit in front of a TV all day, which aren't good for any kids to do all the time, right? But when mom isn't having to push him, he's pushing mom. Come on, mom, we're gonna be late. We got to be here. That means a lot. That's huge, and wanting to see that. And that doesn't matter what kid that comes from, because now we know you can make impact. I remember, right, when I worked in youth ministry, there would be certain people that would be upset. Let's say we got food, we got pizza, we're so-called luring kids there with the pizza, and they'd be like, well, they're only coming for the food. And I would say,
but they're coming.
It's okay. That's all right. It's okay.
They're coming.
I don't care why they're showing up, right? Because if they're here, we can make some impact. If I have an opportunity to spend time with them, to engage with them, I believe a difference can be made. So I don't care, why they're showing. I want them to want to be here, want to come. Even for those, you were just talking about it, you may be around some kids that you may not normally would be around. This gives us an opportunity to see them in their element. I used to hear, if you want to know what somebody's character is really like, play basketball with.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? Because their true character is going to come out. It's going to come out in competition, right?
That's why I don't play.
Because as pastors, we understand, right, that people often give us their representatives, right? They want to kind of dumb down who they are, change their language, change their talk. And it's like, I can't really make an adequate diagnosis or help you in any kind of way if you try to shade or you try to hide who you truly are. It's like going to the doctor, right? And I'm not making us the answer man, but what I'm saying is, you go to the doctor, but you're not honest about what your symptoms are. How can he truly help you, with that? So I tell people all the time, hey, if you cuss, then don't stop on my account. You know what I'm saying? Don't pause for me, because I have no heaven and hell to put you in anyway, right?
Yeah, that's great.
And it's the same thing. We want to see kids in their element, because then that way we get to make impact.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think one of the thrilling parts about all this is shaping, and you see it throughout one season. You can see where they started and where they finished, not just athletically, but in their character. I think that's awesome. What are the differences between, again, I want to be really clear, Upward Basketball is a phenomenal ministry. It has done a lot of really, really good things.
Yes.
But I do get asked the question, what's the difference between 323 Basketball and Upward Basketball? Do you want to dive into that at all?
Sure.
Yeah. Let you.
I mean, we don't adjust the rules of the game of basketball in those spaces to supplement. What we try to do in those spaces is to evaluate skill level and then match up kids based on that. So though we play age according basketball, only thing that can trump age is skill level, right? So we're okay if, let's say, you are a 10-year-old kid, but you play at a level of a 12-year-old kid. I'm okay seeing you play with other 12-year-olds. Yeah. That's awesome. You also could be a 10-year-old kid, but you've never played before in your life and you don't have a ton of size. It's okay if you're playing with some 8 and 9-year-old kids just because of where your skill level is. And so what we want to do is more so help kids develop and understand how to play the game of basketball. So we don't really make a ton of adjustments outside of what the normal rules of basketball are. We let kids steal. We let them play defense and tough defense.
Is it man-to-man zone matter?
We teach man-to-man. Mainly because you got to learn how to be able to guard somebody. And sometimes if we step into, if you start the zone process, then kids don't truly learn how to play the correct way to play man.
You're just guarding the spot on the floor.
Yeah, now you're just guarding. And eventually I truly believe that any zone defense is what I would call elevated learning, because it takes time to learn how to apply man-to-man principles to a zone defense. And I know I'm starting to talk, you know what I'm saying, maybe above where some people are, but I believe learning how to play, you know what I'm saying, hands up, moving your feet, sliding your feet, and stay in front of your man becomes vital and important in that space. And so we are going to teach a ton of fundamentals, right, the basics of basketball.
Okay, so on the flip side, Junior NBA has been around for a long, long time. It's a phenomenal program as well. One of the things that I feel like some parents have expressed in the past, not just here, but in that in the junior NBA space is sometimes you'll have even a girl that's teamed up with guys, and she not that she can't compete. Don't hear that at all. But sometimes what happens is she gets left out. The guys will dominate and leave her out so she doesn't get to play, and or your more skilled position players kind of dominate and leave the other less skilled play. Like, is there a remedy to that? Like, if my child plays basketball, he's not there yet, will he still get the same attention to be developed that the others are getting? Does that make sense?
Yes. I mean, that's part of why we try to trump age with skill. It's because we try to group kids together with similar skills so that they can grow in that space. Now, one of the cool things that's happened is we have a good group of girls that most likely will be girls against girls, which is awesome. Really cool. I love girls basketball, and I want to see that grow and develop. So we are recruiting as many young ladies we can get to come out from kindergarten up to middle school. We're inviting them to come. If they're growing in the sport, want to learn more, but also, hey, if they're young ladies that have the skill level to play and compete with high level boys, we jump right in there, right? Because I believe that only helps them develop and get better.
Well, you should make T-shirts from 323 that say "I love girls basketball."
I'm with it. I'm with it.
You know, Nike has something really close to that.
Play like a girl.
That's right. Play.
Why are you looking at me?
Hey, a couple things we're going to wrap up here in just a second, but to kind of piggyback on what Corey said, on the baseball side, we have two teams as well. One team we call, in the baseball world, they call it the rec team. And then on the other side, they call it the select team.
Yep.
Our rec team, we're calling the development, the D-League.
Yeah.
All right, we're developing these kids, preparing them for the next. So on the select side, what we do is we keep the 8-9 core group together, and we cherry pick 2 or 3 from our D-League team to go to a tournament, and we try to introduce them to it. So we don't take a kid that's not going to play, but we also know that we'll tell the parents straightforward, hey, he's going as a sub. We're going to try to work him in. I can promise you every game he's going to get in.
Yes.
That could be pitch running. It could be, playing in the field, whatever, but he's going to get in. And so we just try to introduce the game to them. It's a faster speed, and the more you see it, the game slows down, that type of thing. But I love what we're doing with basketball as well. I failed to mention this earlier, but also I hear at the end of the spring, we're also launching another sport.
Yes, we are.
What is that?
That's flag football.
Flag football. Flag football is one of the fastest growing sports in the state of Georgia.
Yes.
Especially for female athletes.
Yes.
And so we're excited about launching that. We're launching it at the end of the spring. I know traditionally, flag football is a fall sport, or at least people think that. But those of you who have never stepped into the arena of flag football is big in the spring as well. So just know that your travel teams actually compete all throughout the year in that space as well.
Monday night football.
That's right.
That's going to
be fun. Yep. Under the lights.
Under the lights, baby.
Very cool. One more question for you. So sports can shape a kid's identity. Hopefully it won't. But I mean, what do you want kids that join this league and their parents, what do you want them to walk away with at the end of the year?
I think, one, that God is a God of joy, and we can enjoy those things that he's given us. Sports is something he's given us, right? I know we like to believe that we've invented everything, but God is the creator of all things. And so he's given us that thing. He's given us
John and Peter that raced to the tomb, right?
It was. Yeah.
Right.
And one of them won.
One of them won. And he told you.
He told us
that. Right. He's given us all things to enjoy. So I believe this is something to enjoy. But like any good thing, it can become an idol too. And we have to be mindful of that we can turn good into great if we're not careful. And the only great thing is Jesus, right? And we want to point kids to Jesus, right? So, and I get it. I'm one of those parents that have to be careful, right? I have a son that plays basketball. I love basketball. He loves basketball. And so one of the things we try to point, even before any time we're training, is to say, God has given you this ability to do this, right? He's blessed you to be here, and he deserves your best. And a part of you playing the way you play is to honor him by giving you your best, right? But it also is to honor him in your character and how you respond and how you live and how you walk this out.
Which translates into every other area of life.
other area of his life. And so that's why we continue to talk about that. And it'll be the very same thing that we push the kids, that we want to see them, right, have good character. We want to see them compete, right? But we also want them to be able to share their faith. And we don't want the way they act and carry themselves on the court, on the field, to hinder their ability to tell somebody else about the goodness of God.
It's good stuff. Good stuff.
Really good.
Well, Corey, man, thank you for joining us today.
I'm glad you're here, man. For real.
Yeah,
Thank you.
He's my neighbor, my next door neighbor.
Office
Office neighbors.
No, y'all let me jump on. I really appreciate it, man. I feel blessed
So
that I was invited.
he and his wife and family moved down here, so he does have a wife, just so that you know. He has a work wife, and he has just kidding. He's kidding. But for those of you listening, man, thank you guys.
Is that Jamin?
So much for,
Who is that?
We ain't, no names. I just heard it at a restaurant recently.
I got you.
But seriously, we're excited about 323 Sports. I could get this wrong, but if you want to register your child, go to 3org or com.
.com.
.com.
Now, I'm not sure when this airing, but you better move soon because
right.
it could be done by the time you see this podcast.
Yeah, that is true. And if so, flag football hopefully will be coming up soon. You can just sign them up for that. But man, thank you so much, guys, for joining the Everyone Everywhere podcast. I'm Trey Brinson alongside Tim Sexton and our guest, Corey Sanders. We will see you next time. God bless.